Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, I'm Scott Bulgy from Combat Sports UK, here with Lucas Seibert, ahead of his upcoming fight against Eddie Alvarez. How are you doing today?
Good, brother. How about you?
I'm doing good. And how has the upcoming training camp been?
It's going great. Super excited for this opponent. Me and my coaches have put in a lot of work, a lot of film study, and a lot of real life application. And, we're ready to go out there and put on the best performance.
Exactly. And do you feel like he's going to be your toughest opponent so far?
I think he has abilities where he's going to be the toughest. And I think obviously there's some openings. But when you climb the pro ladder, it's going to be tougher each time you step in there. And the more times you step in, the more of a chance, So, yeah, I think he's going to be the toughest opponent so far for sure.
And do you feel like his experience, because obviously he's been in the ring 13 times, do you feel like that just shows that gives you a bit more of experience against these guys?
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of experience compared to me. I only have 2 professional fights. He has 13. But I think that, that's a lot of data we can take in. That's something to keep in mind. There's a lot of data you can take in. His age, I think there's a lot on my side for this fight. So, we're just super excited to go out and, do what we do as a team. And I get to be the one in there.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you're fighting in your home state, is that correct?
I'm fighting my adopted home state, my home city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was born in Ohio, but I moved to Pittsburgh about 3 years ago. And yeah, it's my home.
And how does it feel being able to fight in your adopted home state?
I love it. It's I'm blessed to be able to do it. I get to teach the kids at the gym. I get to work alongside the, everyday people at the gym. I have teammates and stuff, and they all get to watch me go out and perform. And in a way, I have them on my back as well. It gives you something more to fight for. It gives you something more to kind of like, when you're down and out or you're hurt, you got a little bit more to bite down on your mouthpiece because, all your people are there watching you.
Exactly. And like you were saying, you do help teach younger kids in the gym. How has that been?
So I started teaching the kids, it would have been a little over a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And man, it's the best job I've ever had for sure. I love it. Obviously, it has its give and takes. Kids can be, but man, it's awesome. Like teaching a kid something and then watching them progress, not only as like an athlete, but as an individual, watching them mature. It's a really cool role, and it's something I'm extremely grateful to be able to do.
So is that what you do like full time? You do the coaching and then you also train as well?
Yep. Yeah. So I'll coach jiu-jitsu for kids, striking for kids, and a couple adult classes at my gym. My gym's very, very big. We actually have 4 locations within the city. So I teach at a couple of those locations and kind of like go around. And then obviously I also train at the gym. So, I'm always there.
And is that Stout PGH?
Yep, Stout PGH, Stout Pittsburgh. It's a Henzo Gracie affiliate. So yeah, comes from a long lineage of the Henzo Gracie family, and it's a great gym.
And how has that been for your overall development?
It's amazing. Warren Stout, the owner, he pours time into me. But mostly it's Mike Wilkins and Will Morrill. Mike Wilkins, former Bellator fighter, Will Morrill, his former coach. And Will's my striking guy, Mike's my jiu-jitsu and ground game guy, and they work so well together, and I work well with them as well. We've been together from the jump, through all my fights, and they know me, I know them. It's a special connection, the type of connection that can take you to the top of the game.
Exactly. And you also come from that wrestling background. You wrestled back at university. How was it making that transition from wrestling to MMA?
Um, I think I think I transitioned really well. I think my wrestling style was very based on like athleticism. Uh, so it transitioned well when you started to add strikes. And then along with that, the coaches that I work with, Mike Wilkins, like the biggest wrestling fan I know, and Will Morrill obviously has been training wrestlers, in Pittsburgh
Yeah,
his entire career. So it worked out really well, and I think I transitioned better than most wrestlers into the striking aspect, and my jiu-jitsu is coming along tremendously with it. So I love it. I think of myself as just an all-around well-rounded fighter. um but yeah, obviously that wrestling background, when it comes down to it, that's where I was born and raised.
and speaking to some other wrestlers that came through the wrestling to MMA scene, they were talking about how the tide has started to turn before there was a bit of a dislike going from wrestling to MMA in that world. However, now people like Bo Nickel are coming into it. There is now a lot more support in it. Did you ever felt that?
You see a lot of people. Obviously, Bo's kind of the people or the person kind of at the forefront of it, but it's been like that. Daniel Cormier he was a college wrestler. There's tons of Johnny Hendricks, tons of people from that era. And then you got the new age guys. And I think the cool thing about the new age wrestlers, the new age American wrestlers specifically, is a lot of it's based on athleticism. Bo Nickel, super athletic guy. He transitions really well. You look at guys like Bryce Meredith, guys I look up to like Dorian Caldwell, Bubba Jenkins, Lance Palmer, tons of people that have collegiate wrestling backgrounds, and they're trying to make the connection between it with the athleticism. It works really, really well compared to just a traditional wrestler. The athletic ability to be able to get between
Yeah.
moves and
And then obviously there has been wrestlers in the UFC like Mokayev and Carl Williams who has came out publicly saying the UFC didn't want them. So you do a heavy wrestling based back style. Do you feel like it's not more that, but it can be exciting even though you are doing the wrestling? Just again try to find the submissions and that.
I personally think my style is about the most exciting style you're gonna find. I use wrestling when I need it, when I want to. I use it for anti wrestling. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I joke with people. I say I wrestled my whole life because I hate wrestling. Right? And when I get taken, I wrestled my whole life. But I think they if you're just gonna take somebody down and lay on them, obviously that's not exciting. But if you're gonna use wrestling to open up strikes, you're gonna use wrestling to defend takedowns to get strikes. You're gonna use wrestling to get to dominant positions on top. Then it gets exciting. You know what I mean? You look at there's a lot of guys that wrestled and come from a wrestling background that are considered strikers. You look at T.J. Dillashaw, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje. They all come from a
Yeah.
wrestling background, and they use wrestling to develop their striking. I'd say I fall more in line with those guys, where it's the excitement that comes behind it, and the wrestling community.
Exactly. And with this victory you will be 3-0. What do you feel like is next for you?
Once I'm 3-0, it's going to be searching for a professional title on the regional scene. Uh, Probably with 247 out here in Pittsburgh, maybe another promotion, and then I'd like to fight. I like to say an away game. I want to go to somebody's hometown and fight them there. Ideally, that would be for like CFFC, maybe somewhere in Ohio, um, Fury. I'm open, but I think try to get to 6, 7-0 by the end of the year. If I get a call for Contender Series, I'm gonna be ready, and just keep doing what I'm doing, keep winning, stacking up the wins, staying in the gym consistently, trusting my coaches, and trusting the people around me. And God's got a plan. He's gonna bring it to me.
Exactly. And have there been any talks for a fight in either CFFC, Fury, LFA? Has that ever been talked about yet, or?
Yeah, I've got offered opponents. I'm currently in a one year deal with 247. Um, and that we're gonna negotiate after this fight. I'm real close with them, and we want to get what we want. We both want to get what we can out of each other, and really progress my career. And I really care about my relationship with them. But yeah, CFFC, Fury, LFA, those are all options. We're a phone call away. We've got offered fights. It's all about timing. I want to go in there. I don't want to be just a regular guy for CFFC. I want to be a guy where it's like, yo, he's been on the region team beating people up. He's 5, 6-0. He's coming to CFFC to go take this kid's title. That's what I want. I want to be somebody that transcends regional MMA to national MMA, and then I get the backing of the city of Pittsburgh when I go over to CFFC, when I go over to Philly and go take somebody's title from them.
Exactly. And this is your third fight of the year. Do you like staying this active?
Yeah, yeah, man. I actually wasn't gonna fight 3 times this year. I put like 2 to 3. I'm hoping to maybe get a fourth one in December. Praying all goes right and I stay healthy. But I like being this active. 24 years old. I get better every day. I get better after each fight, and I think I take my biggest leaps in terms of development after a fight. So the more I fight, the more leaps I'm gonna have. Obviously, you got to stay healthy and do the right things. But yeah, if I could fight every other month, I would. That's just who I am. I love this sport and I love being able to do it. So, it's how I make a living. It's everything to me.
And how did you get into everything? Like, how did you get into the wrestling, decide to go into it in university, and then make the decision to go to MMA?
Um, Wrestling. My family wrestled. I'm from Ohio. My high school. All my friends wrestled with me, and it was just something I fell in love with, something I kind of naturally took to. I was kind of a aggressive kid. I probably would have gotten a lot of trouble if I didn't have wrestling. It kept me on the straight,
Yeah, exactly.
and I
And
I I absolutely loved MMA from when I was a kid. I grew up watching The Ultimate Fighter with my dad. I grew up, just a fan, and one thing led to another, and I ended up, starting to train with people, and I fell in love with this game, moved to Stout, and decided to make it my life.
exactly. And have you been watching the Contender Series this year?
Yeah, I watched a couple of the episodes, and yeah, I've definitely been paying attention. I think I'm going to be on the next season, if not the following. So I keep an eye out, especially at my weight class, what's going on. Who's in. Um, I watch the fights in my weight class, and I definitely have an eye on the Contender Series.
Exactly, because like I think the main event last night, one of the guys was 3-0 and the other guy was 2-1. So even with just a few more wins, you are definitely got the record so far to get into the Contender Series.
Yeah, yeah, a few more wins, keep doing the right stuff, taking tough opponents, going and progressing, and then once I get that call, we'll be ready for sure.
Exactly. Well, I know you'll have a great fight and you'll get the victory, and I wish you the best of luck. I'll let you have the final word. Is there anything else you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
I would, obviously, I'm blessed to be able to do what I love every day. Um, I'm blessed to be backed by the city of Pittsburgh, my gym at Stout, and I appreciate, any platform, any opportunity I get to talk about what I love to do. So I appreciate you for having me on, and maybe we can do it again after I win this fight.
Exactly. And I know you're going to smash out there.
Thank you, brother.